The Toronto Raptors in Washington to start their 8th set of back-to-backs. They are 5-2 on the first night, 3-4 on the second night. And Sherman, they're entering a stretch where 3 of the next 4 games, Memphis excluded, are playoff teams that, well, look to do some damage in the postseason.
Yeah, and you get to face them at home, which is a bonus for the Raptors. But having said that, I mean, as this season rolls on, you want the competition to get better. You want to see games where you're going to have to play for something against teams that are playing for something. Right. So they're in that stretch right now, and it's one of those times of the year right before the All-Star break is looming. Guys have to stay focused. They have to stay locked in and understand that they've got to play the best brand of basketball they can going into and coming out of the All-Star break. So this will be a good test over the next 2 weeks for the Raptors.
All right, the Raptors playing Washington for the 3rd time this season without John Wall. They're 1-1. Bradley Beal gave them 38 in the first win. Raptors able to get the second one, but this is always kind of a tough place to play for Toronto. They've always had close games here, and again, no John Wall tonight. That means opportunity for somebody else.
Yeah, and we've seen the Wizards take advantage of that. I mean, Bradley Beal is one of those guys who can really take a game over, and we saw that in Toronto when he had 38. Having said that, anytime a key guy goes down, and I think coaches believe this as well, you're kind of heightened because somebody out of the woodwork, so you probably haven't scouted for the way you normally do, comes to the forefront and has one of those games that you just can't explain. So the Raptors have to be very, very aware that this team is wounded, and they're going to come out and play extremely hard, and the Raptors cannot take them for granted based on John Wall not being in the lineup.
All right, Sherm, tragic news from the NBA family. Yesterday, Rasul Butler, 14-year vet, played for a number of NBA teams, 8 different NBA teams, including this franchise here in Washington. And I remember Dwayne Casey having Rasul Butler in Toronto during the lockout-shortened season. Died in a one-car crash, he and his wife. Tragic news, and a lot of the reflections and you know, people's thoughts starting to come in about Rasul Butler, who he was a solid guy. I mean, we knew him here in Toronto a little bit in that one season. A real man, and the NBA family mourning his loss.
It's just horrible news. I mean, when you talk about a young man, that kind of quality of person, and you know, it's unfortunate that something like this happens. And as the NBA usually does, when one of their people go down, they support the group around that person, and they make sure everybody understands how much they care about that guy. But Rasul Butler, by all accounts, and to our personal interaction with him, a class act, and it's really sad to see a young man's life taken away.
Well, that was much of the chatter at shoot-around this morning. Let's hear from the players and head coach Dwayne Casey.
Because of who he was. I just saw him when he was in LA a couple of times. Seemed like every gym I went to this summer in LA, he was working out, thinking about coming back. And then our last conversation was about coaching. You know, he's wanting to get in coaching. We didn't have any spots in Toronto, but that was his goal, was to get into being. And I thought he would be an excellent one because, believe it or not, he was an excellent mentor for DeMar DeRozan. He went against him in practice, made it tough for him in practice, and he was a godsend for us. You know, when he was with us in our first few years, I thought he helped make DeMar tougher, and just gone way too soon. Him and his wife, and my condolences, my family, our team, to him and his family goes out, because he was a wonderful young man, pure heart.
Yeah, it seems like everybody from every team he played on, 8 or 9 of them.
That's why he was, no question. That's why people felt the way he did, because he was genuine. There was no fake about him whatsoever. He was a genuinely good person, and he looked you in the eye, talked to you, shook. You know, he said what he meant and meant what he said.
I mean, how did you find out of his passing?
Matter of fact, I was listening to Sirius Radio on the way to the airport, and I almost started crying. And so, you know, again, it's you know, just one of those things. Is just a vibrant person that we lose at this early age in his life.
He's behind.
I mean, outside of basketball, he was just a great person. You know, he was just a great person. You know, if something like that happened, I don't even think about basketball. I just think about the person he was. You know, he was a great individual, great human being, and you know, that's one thing that, you know, I'm gonna remember more than anything else.
Did you connect with him right away when he joined you guys?
I mean, yeah, I was young. You know, he was a veteran player. You know, I knew who he was. And, you know, he just gave off that vibe of you know, straight positivity, teaching younger guys, wanting us be you know, better, learn as much as we could, you know, and he was very helpful with that.
You've played this team now twice without Wall. What different problems does it present with more Beal?
Man, sometimes it's tougher when a team missing, you know, a key player to play against a team, you know, because the next guy step up and it seemed like everybody else step up a lot more. Then when you got a guy like Bradley, you seen what he did to us the first game in Toronto, what he's able to do, you know, it makes it a lot tougher. You know, we got to key in not just on him, but other guys as well, because they're going to try to step up as well.
How did you do that day?
I knew him. He was a Philly legend at that time. He was I think he was like the first Philly guy drafted in like years. So, and I knew him, and yeah.
That's just a tough, terrible, tragic story. And it sort of shows life's pretty fragile.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's really like, it's crazy. Because, I mean, I wouldn't be so, it wouldn't hurt so much like that was my guy, though. Like, I knew him, and he's from Philly. He's like, man, live by the day.
Yeah,
live in the moment.
Billy King had a thing, Alvin had a thing in the paper today.
Hey, man, live in the moment.
The first Philly guy?
No, he wasn't the first, one of the first. I mean, he's, you know, we've had, but for me, it's a little bit closer. You know what I mean? It's like I knew him, and like I watched him. I used to literally go sit at the top of the Gola Arena, and the coaches to give me tickets, and I used to go watch him. I used to go to LaSalle games, 2,000 people there. I used to go sit there by myself, me and my best friend, and go watch him play, just to watch him play.
Philly's one of those cities that the culture, the basketball culture is very tight.
Yeah.
Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, I mean, it's a very fair assessment. I mean, everybody I talk to, that we all feel the same way. It hurts. I mean, it's too close to at home. It's like, you talk to the Morris twins, you know what I mean? You talk to Dion, Wayne, like all those guys. Sue we all knew him. I mean, we all knew him. Like, he was the greatest guy, one of the best guys ever.
Yeah, every teammate we've heard speak in the last 24 hours for all the 8 teams he played for, had glowing things to say about him as a guy.
It's crazy, man. It's a tough situation to deal with in general in life.
So the Raptors will start off the month of February here in Washington. You can see it 7 o'clock on Sportsnet 1 and hear it on TSN 1050.